there, nation, and welcome to the show where we help you to play miniatures wargaming on a budget. It is I, Commander Cheapskate, and we are back with another edition of Commander Cheapskate Gamer Reviews. This is a series where we review various products related to the wargaming hobby, and on today's episode we will review the Chaos Dwarfs Army Book for Warhammer Armies Project 9th Edition Warhammer Fantasy. As we take a look at this army book, we'll take a look at the product's army rules, special characters, magic and magical items. We'll take a glance at its army list and provide our overall conclusion on this project. So for those of you guys who are unfamiliar with Chaos Dwarfs are the evil version of the dwarves that you find in the World's Edge Mountains in games of Warhammer Fantasy. They actually were their own faction back in the 4th edition of Warhammer Fantasy. They actually originally came out as articles within the White Dwarf magazine, and then eventually they were compiled together to make an actual army out of that. We haven't seen Chaos Dwarves as an army since Warhammer 4th edition. It did come out a little bit in 8th edition Warhammer Fantasy with the Tamarkan Throne of Chaos expansion that was released by Forge World, and they actually had a very limited Chaos Dwarf army list on that one, and so that's the last time we saw Chaos Dwarves. And hopefully, now that Warhammer the Old World is coming out, they'll probably bring back Chaos Dwarves, I hope. Chaos Dwarves are very interesting. They have like the typical nature of what dwarves are, with really good close combat, defensive fighters, high armor saves, but they also have magic at their disposal, and they can also take green skins as auxiliaries in their armies as well, so it's a pretty interesting game mechanic. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get this review on a roll. So here we are directly on my desktop. As you can see, we got our awesome looking Commander Cheapskate emblem. So let's get this review started. So here is the cover for the Warhammer Army Project's Chaos Dwarf Army Book for 9th Edition Warhammer Fantasy. And once again, just another beautiful cover piece of artwork for this battle tome. Once again, I always applaud Elias Mathiassen's dedication to professionalism in his desktop publishing. He does a beautiful job with these PDF army books that he actually does. In fact, if you didn't know any better, you could have swore these were actually professionally made GW products. I mean, that's how good the level of professionalism is in these army booklets. So I really do applaud Elias Mathiassen's dedication to this. And I'm actually looking really forward to reviewing this book, and the reason why is because I remember looking at Chaos Dwarf armies from Warhammer 4th edition as well as 5th edition of Warhammer Fantasy. From my understanding, originally Chaos Dwarves did not get an army book originally in the earlier editions of Warhammer Fantasy. It actually came out as a series of White Dwarf articles. You know, this is back in the day when White Dwarf used to give you a bunch of rules and stuff like that, things to enhance your games back in the day. And then eventually, I think it was the 4th edition of Warhammer Fantasy that they finally put a book together for this army. So I'm really excited to see exactly what this book actually contains. So once again, we have some beautiful artwork. It looks like this actually comes from a mixture of the Throne of Tamarkan, which was the Forge World intellectual property that actually came out a couple years ago. So once again, just a beautiful job. Yeah, really coul iconography there by Elias Eliasson. Just real excellent work. So let's go and talk about the contents real fast. So we're going to skip the lore about the Chaos Dwarfs because we're not really interested too much about it. However, we are interested in things like the army special rules, the different units that are available to your army, as well as the army list. We'll also take a look at their magical items, their special characters, as well as their unique magic towards them. Just to give you guys some heads up about the Chaos Dwarfs, the Chaos Dwarfs are actually modeled after the Babylonians in terms of lore, as well as their look. For example, the Chaos Dwarfs have these really tall Shanko type hats that they wear, which was kind of common by the Janissaries of Turkey back during the Middle Ages as well. They also have the very long braided beards as well, which is quite common throughout Persian sculpture and architecture throughout the Middle East as well. In fact, the idea of having even the bull actually has shut as well. I believe that's also based off of a pagan god from ancient Middle East, actually. And same thing with the names that they have, like Razar Nagrand, for example. They use Zuggurats, for example, which are actually stepped pyramids, or quite a common design feature in ancient Mesopotamia, Sumeria, that kind of thing. So if you want to know where they get some of these names from, this look from, that's pretty much who they're modeled after, which is absolutely fantastic. So let's go ahead and get this started. So let's take a look at the army special rules. So first of all, they have a special rule called Contempt. It says units with this special rule treat units without it as expendable, which makes sense because in the lore of Chaos Dwarves, they do have a lot of slaves that actually work for them, primarily greenskins like orcs and goblins and such, and that actually works out for them. Now, just like their dwarf counterparts from the 9th edition, they have Relentless. Units entirely comprised of models with this special rule do not need to pass a leadership test in order to march, regardless of the proximity of enemy units. They also have the Resolute rule. That is common in 9th edition Dwarves. When taking break tests, models of this special rule count as having lost the combat with 1 point less than they actually have. We also have Demonic special rule. Models of this special rule have the immunity to poison attacks, magical attacks, unstable, and ward save apply plus rules, which makes sense because these are Chaos Dwarfs. And infusing demons with machinery is what they kind of do. And then we have animosity, so it looks like we have that again for the hobgoblins as well as for the greenskins that work for them. It says units with this special rule must roll a d6 and consult the chart below at the start of the turn unless they are already in combat fleeing, has less than unit strength 5, or a non-fleeing unit with the contempt special rule is within 6 inches of them. On a 1, we'll get a better view further back. For hobgoblins, it says the unit must immediately take a panic test. If it's passed, you may act normally this turn. 2 to 5 is cut 'em good, which means the unit may attack normally this turn, or 6 bloody murder. The unit suffers D3 wounds distributed as from shooting attacks. These wounds, however, will not cause a panic test. Afterwards, they gain +1 to their hit rolls for this turn only, and may be used normally again. So once again, not so bad for the animosity table for hobgoblins. So let's take a look at the Infernal Armory. They have Black Shard Armor, which is full plate armor. Black Shard Armor confers a ward save of 5+ against non-physical flaming attacks. We have the Blood of a Shut. It says use only once, one use only. The Blood of a Shut can be used in close combat to attacking normally that turn. It targets a single model in base contact. The attack works on a 2+. If a 1 is rolled, the Blood of a Shut is wasted. If the attack is successful, then D6 automatic hits are inflicted on the target. The 2 wound score of these hits is always equal to the unmodified armor save of the target. For example, a model with heavy armor and shield for a combined 3+ save is 1 on 3+, and so forth. Pretty much kind of like the Lore of Metal. It says attacks from the Blood of a Shut have a Lore's armor saves, flaming attacks, and magical attack special rule, which is basically, quite apropos in my opinion, because a lot of these units actually use a lot of like a demonic infusing of demon souls into machinery, and so it's kind of like the Lore of Metal for that. We have Naphtha Bombs, which cause 6-inch range, strength 3, armor piercing 1, flaming attacks, quick to fire. If the enemy is hit, it suffers D3, strength 3 hits. However, if a 1 is rolled to hit, the thrower instead suffers a single automatic wound. This is a non-physical attack. And we have Dark Forged Weapon. It's a magic weapon. Each Dark Forged weapon possesses 1 random ability that is rolled for at the start of the game at the same time as you choose the Demon Smith spells. Such weapons are unique, and if you have more than 1 Demon Smith in your army, you must reroll any duplicated ability if possible. Note down which ability a particular weapon gets after you've determined it, which actually makes kind of sense because these Dark Forged weapons are infused with the souls of demons, which go figure. So it says 1 is Spell Rot, +1 to the Demon Smith's channeling attempts, Furnace Blast. Once per game, the weapon may unleash a Strength 3 flaming attack, Breath of Weapon as a Demon Smith's shooting attack. 3 is Malignant. The Demon Smith becomes subject to the Hatred special rule. 4 is Lifebane. The weapon has the multiple wounds D3 special rule. Very powerful. Dwarmer Leech, +1 to the Demon Smith's dispelling attempts. And finally, Possessed. The weapon wounds on a 2+, regardless of the target's toughness. However, if a 1 is rolled on the 2 wound dice, a further wound is inflicted on the Demon Smith instead, with no saves of any kind allowed. Kind of a double-edged sword there. So let's talk about the generals real quick. So we have the Sorcerer Prophets, which are the generals of the Chaos Dwarves, and the reason why is because they're led by sorcerers. So you have 3-inch movement, 5 weapon skill, 4 ballistic skill, 4 strength, 5 toughness, 3 wounds, 2 initiative, 3 attacks, 10 leadership. A Sorcerer Prophet is a wizard that uses spells in lore of fire, metal, lore of shadow, lore of death, or lore of Hashut. They have the Contempt, Relentless, and Resolute special rule. They also have Sorcerer's Curse. It says whenever a Chaos Dwarf with this special rule suffers a miscast in the game, after resolving the effects of the miscast on them normally, they must pass a toughness test or suffer a wound with no saves allowed. And the reason why that's the case is because, according to the lore, Chaos Dwarves, sorcerers, over time, their bodies become stone because of the magic that they use. And this is actually supposed to represent that. Then we have a Palanquin. It says here it's got movement 3, 5 weapon skill, 3 strength, 3 ballistic skill, 4 strength. No toughness and wounds, 2 initiative, 4 attacks. It says a Palanquin should be placed on a 40mm by 44mm base and adds +4 to the unit strength of the model mounted on them. So what this does is actually is used for sorcerer prophets who have actually become more stone than human, and so they actually ride around in these things, which gives them some additional attacks and buffs, kind of like shield bearers a little bit. Then we have our Demon Smiths. These guys have a movement of 3, weapon skill, ballistic skill, strength and toughness of 4, 2 wounds, 2 initiative, 2 attacks, 9 leadership. A Demon Smith is a wizard that uses spells from the lore of fire, metal, shadow, death, or lore of Hashut. They have Contempt, Relentless, Resolute, and Sorcerer's Curse. They have the special rule Infernal Engineer. One more machine or hell cannon that is within 3 inches of the Demon Smith can use his ballista skill or reroll 1 artillery die or scatter die during each shooting phase. You must nominate which weapon, if any, will be shooting using the special rule at the start of each shooting phase before any such weapons within 3 inches of the Demon Smith are fired. A Demon Smith that is within 3 inches of a war machine is allowed to take a lookout sir roll just as if he was within 3 inches of a unit of 5 or more models of the same troop type as himself. If the roll is successful, the hit is resolved instead against the nearest friendly war machine, which makes sense. These are kind of like the dwarf version of engineers, except these guys can also use magic, which also makes them really, really deadly. Then we have overlords and despots. We have our overlords and despots, which are our normal general type characters. The overlord has got 3-inch movement, 7 weapon skill, 4 ballista skill, strength, 5 toughness, 3 wounds, 4 initiative, 4 attacks, 10 leadership, while the despot has 3 movement, 6 weapon skill, 4 weapon skill, 4 strength, 5 toughness, 2 wounds, 3 initiative, 3 attacks, and 9 leadership. They have the contempt, relentless, as well as resolute special. These are like your dwarf lords as well as dwarf thanes. Is pretty much how these guys are functioning. Then we have our Chaos Dwarf Warriors. These guys have 3-inch movement, 4 weapon skill, 3 ballista skill, 3 strike, 4 toughness, 1 wound, 2 initiative, 1 attack, 9 leadership, plus 1 attack for the Castellan. They have contempt, relentless, and resolute rule, which are just like your Dwarf Warriors. Then we have Devastators. These guys have weapon skill, movement 3, weapon skill 4, 3 ballista skill, 3 strength, 4 toughness, 1 wound, 2 initiative, 1 attack, 9 leadership, 1 additional attack for the Annihilator. They have contempt, relentless, and resolute. These guys carry guns. Yeah, they carry the Hellshot Blunderbuss. The Blunderbuss was the signature weapon of the Chaos Dwarfs. It has a 12-inch range, strength of 3, armor piercing 1, multiple shots 3, quick to fire. Blunderbusses do not suffer any penalties to hit for firing multiple shots or for firing at a charging enemy. So it looks like they changed the rules a little bit on that. That's perfectly fine. The original rules for the Blunderbuss, actually for the earlier editions of it, was that you actually took the unit's width and you actually drew a 12-inch line and everything within that area got hit, and you add an additional strength for every rank that you had these guys shooting. So that's pretty much how it worked back in the day. So very, very cool there. Then we have the Infernal Guard. I believe these guys are from the Forge World, I believe. So we have Infernal Guard, 3 movement, 4 weapon skill, 3 ballista skill, 4 strength and toughness, 1 wound, 2 initiative, 1 attack, 9 leadership. We have the Death Mask, which I believe is their champion. They get +1 attack. Then we have the Infernal Iron Sworn. Looks like it's an upgraded version of these guys. They have 3 movement, 5 weapon skill, 3 ballista skill, 4 strength and toughness, 1 wound, 2 attack, 2 initiative, 1 attack, 9 leadership, additional leadership attack for Iron Sword and Death Mask. So it looks like these guys are like the upgraded version. I would have to see what the point differences are to justify that +1 in weapon skill. So they have Contempt, Relentless, and Resolute. They have Fire Glaives. Looks like it can be used in close combat as well as in shooting. For combat, it gives you +1 strength, and for range attack is 18 range, strength 4, armor piercing 1. And then we have ensorcelled hand weapons. I guess these are the Iron Sworn. So maybe that's what makes them different. They do have this ensorcelled hand weapons, +1 strength, magical attacks. So I guess that could be kind of cool. Makes these guys strength 5, but then again you have 5 strength for just normal, and it shoots too. So like I said, we'll have to take a look at the point value for that. Then we have Immortals. This is actually a new unit, I think. So Immortals, based off of the Persian Immortals, which was the vanguard of the Persian military in ancient times. I believe the reason why they were called the Immortals is because they were never defeated in battle, I believe. So let's talk about these guys' stats. So 3 movement, 5 weapon skill, 3 ballista skill, 4 strength and toughness, 1 wound, 2 initiative, 1 attack, 9 leadership. The Eternal has additional attack. Contempt, Relentless, and Stubborn. Oh, they're stubborn for their special. That's good. Then their equipment is Granite Armor. It says that full plate armor. Granite Armor gives the wearer +1 armor save for a total of a 2-up armor save. So yeah, very cool. Then we have the Acolytes of Hashut. These guys are called Acolytes. They have 3 movement, 5 weapon skill, 3 ballista skill, 4 strength and toughness, 1 wound, 3 initiative, 1 attack, 9 leadership. Looks like the Adept has exactly the same stats except for 1 additional attack, and then you have your Petrified Sorcerer. Alright, that makes sense, because like I said before, these sorcerers become turned to stone over time. This person's got 5 weapon skill, 3 ballista skill, 4 strength and 4 toughness, 4 wounds, 3 initiative, 4 attacks, and 9 leadership. They have the Contempt, Magical Attacks, Relentless, and Resolute special rules. And it says Dirges of Hashut. At the start of the Dwarf turn, Acolytes of Hashut may select one of the following Dirges to sing, the effects of which they benefit until this next turn. Dirge of Fury, the unit gains a Hatred special rule. Dirge of Brutality, the unit gains a Killing Blow special rule. Dirge of Defiance, the unit gains a Ward save of 6+. Upgrades: the Petrified Sorcerer. The Petrified Sorcerer should be mounted on a 40 by 40 millimeter base and has unit strength 4. It may not leave this unit for the duration of the game, and is always placed in the second rank of the unit as centrally as possible. While there are rank and file models left in the unit, except for Command Group, always remove one of the preferences to the Petrified Sorcerer, taking a wound. It's assumed that one of the bearers falls, take another rank and file model steps in. Only when the rest of the unit has been killed does the Petrified Sorcerer start taking wounds, even in close combat. A unit carrying a Petrified Sorcerer gains +1 to their combat resolution bonus, the Fear, as well as Magic Resistance 2 special rule. So I guess these guys are the ones who kind of tend to the sorcerers who have been petrified over time in Hashut. Then we have Zealot Berserkers. Oh wow. So these guys have 3 movement, 5 weapon skill, 3 ballistic skill, 4 strength and toughness, 1 wound, 3 initiative, 1 attack, 9 leadership, 1 additional attack for the Ravager, which is their champion. They have Contempt, Frenzy, as well as Relentless special rule. They have the Mark of Hashut. Zealot Berserkers have a Ward save of 5 up and immunity to flaming attack special rules. So these guys kind of sound like the Chaos Dwarf version of Slayers, actually, which is actually kind of cool. Then we have Bull Centaurs. Yes, Bull Centaurs make a return. In Warhammer Fantasy, the Bull Centaur is literally what it sounds like. It's a bull, lower half of a bull with a Chaos Dwarf on top. Very, very elite fighting unit within the Chaos Dwarf Army from back then, and it looks like even today. They have movement 7, 4 weapon skill, 2 ballistic skill, 4 strength and toughness, 1 wound, 3 initiative, 2 attacks, 8 leadership. Then they have the Guard, who's got 1 additional attack. They have Contempt, natural armor 6 up. And then we have the Bull Centaur Renders, the largest and most powerful of them. They have, let's see here, 7 movement, 4 weapon skill, 2 ballistic skill, 4 strength, 5 toughness, oof, 3 wounds, ouch, 3 initiative, 3 attacks, 8 leadership. We have the Bull Centaur Bahal, which I guess is the champion for these guys. Again, it looks like that 1 additional attack. And then we have the Taruk, I believe it's like an even upgraded character. They got 5 weapon skill, 5 strength, and they have 4 attacks and 4 wounds, 9 leadership. Very, very tough guys. They have Contempt, natural armor 5+, and their monstrous cavalry 2, which is actually kind of cool. So yeah, it looks like the Bull Centaurs have been changed a little bit, because originally the Bull Centaurs in the earlier editions of Warhammer Fantasy were much tougher. They had more wounds than this, but it looks like what they did is they actually divided the two between normal Bull Centaurs and then the Renders to make some differences, I guess. Then we have the Treacherous Hobgoblins. They make a comeback. They have movement 4, 3 weapon skill, ballistic skill, strength, and toughness, 1 wound, 2 initiative, 1 attack, 6 leadership. The boss looks like it's exactly the same with only 1 additional attack, while the Chieftain has 4 weapon skill, 4 ballistic skill, 4 strength and toughness, 2 wounds, 4 initiative, and 3 attacks. They have infantry as well as animosity. And we have the Backstabbers. The Backstabbers were the signature characters from the Hobgoblins. They carry these really curved knives, which are actually kind of cool. It says, if a Hobgoblin infantry unit with the Backstabber special rule is at least 10 models strong and successfully restrains itself from pursuing an enemy that is broken in close combat, it immediately causes d6 strength 3 hits on the fleeing unit before it moves for every 10 full models in the Hobgoblin unit. Wounds from this attack are distributed as wounds from shooting attacks and may be saved normally. That makes sense because Hobgoblins are notoriously treacherous. And then we have the Sneaky Gits. These were their special units that they had. They had these huge curved daggers, and originally they could actually envelop a unit and just stab in the back. So let's look at these guys. Sneaky Gits have 4 movement, 3 weapon skill, 3 ballistic skill, 3 strength and toughness, 1 wound, 3 initiative, 1 attack, 6 leadership. The Backstabber, which is their champion, has 1 additional attack. They have Ambushers, Animosities, Backstabbers, Poison Attacks, and Skirmisher special rule. Very cool. And then they have special rule Sneaking. After each round of combat is fought, the Sneaky Gits gain the fight an extra rank special rule each turn for as long as they are in combat with that enemy. So after 1 turn, they fight extra rank 1. After 2 turns, they gain extra fight rank 2, and so forth. That makes sense. And the reason why is because in the 4th edition Warhammer Fantasy, these guys can actually take back rank fighters and have them envelop the enemy on the flanks and eventually surround them from behind. And they got to put 2 guys every single turn to do that, 4 guys every single turn to do that. But since we don't have that kind of rule anymore in the 9th edition Fantasy Battle, these guys get additional ranks. So that's pretty cool. That's really neat that they brought those guys back. Then we have the Hobgoblin Wolf Raider. These are Wolf Riders. They have movement 4, 3 weapon skill, ballistic skill, strength, toughness, 1 wound, 2 initiative, 1 attack, 6 leadership. Exactly the same for the Wolf Boss, but plus 1 attack. And they're mounted on Giant Wolves, which are 9-inch movement, 3 weapon skill, 3 strength, toughness, 1 wound, 3 initiative, 1 attack, 3 leadership. They're cavalry with animosity and fast cast special rules, and they have cowardly to spoilers. Units with this special rule gain +1 to hit in the first round of combat if they successfully charge an enemy in their rear or flank. However, if they themselves are charged at all, they suffer -1 to the combat resolution bonus in the first round of combat instead. Which makes sense because hobgoblins, like I said, are very treacherous and cowardly. Then we have our Orc and Goblin slaves. So that was another thing that was interesting about Chaos Dwarf armies. Back in the day, you actually had large units of goblins and orcs in these armies with a few Chaos Dwarfs because they had these goblins as slaves and orcs as slaves as well. So let's talk what they have here. So we have Goblin Slave, 4 movement, 2 weapon skill, 3 ballistic skill, 3 strength and toughness, 1 wound, 2 initiative, 1 attack, 3 leadership. Ooh, really bad with leadership. The Overseer has +1 weapon skill as well as +1 attack and leadership 6. Infantry, animosity with mixed unit. They fear elves. Models of this special rule treat models from Warhammer High Elves, Dark Elves, and Wood Elves as causing fear against them. The Hobgoblin Overseer follows the rules for normal unit champions with the following exceptions. The Hobgoblin Overseer is always placed in the rear rank of the unit and may be the only model in that rank. In addition, the unit must take a leadership test at the start of each of their turns. If failed, the slaves are refusing to follow the Overseer's orders, and you will suffer D6 strength 3 hits as you restore to order with the use of whips, which makes sense. Then we have Orc Slaves. Let's see here. They got 4 movement, 3 weapon skill, 3 ballistic skill, 3 strength, 4 toughness, 1 wound, 2 initiative, 1 attack, 4 leadership. And we have the Hobgoblin Overseer, who's got actually 1 less toughness because he's a Hobgoblin, but he's got 1 extra attack, leadership 6. He's got the infantry special rules. He's got animosity, Hobgoblin Overseer, mixed units, strength bonus 1. Oh, so they got additional strength bonus. It says ignore Goblin Panic. Orc slaves treat Goblin slaves as expendable, which makes sense. And it looks like they have that mixed unit rule as well with the Hobgoblin Overseer rule. So that's pretty neat too. Then we have Black Orcs. All right, so let's talk about Black Orcs real quick. So Black Orcs were originally part of the Chaos Dwarf line originally, and I believe they're the only army that could actually have Black Orcs at the start, if I remember correctly. And then eventually later on in later editions, they let Black Orcs be in Orc and Goblin units. And the reason why is because these guys were actually genetically engineered by the Chaos Dwarves to be a superior Orc, and that's where Black Orcs came from, according to lore anyways. So their stats are movement 4, weapon skill 4, 3 strength, 3 ballistic skill, 4 strength and toughness, 1 wound, 2 initiative, 2 attacks, 8 leadership. The Black Orc boss has exactly the same stats but 1 additional attack. They are infantry with immunity, psychology, and strength bonus 1. They also have armed to the teeth. At the start of each round of close combat, models with this special rule can choose which other weapons, including hand weapons, shield, they wish to fight with. So yeah, that makes sense. Then we have the Kadai Fireborn, which I believe is a Forge World exclusive. Kadai Fireborn have 6 movement, 4 weapon skill, 2 ballistic skill, 5 strength, 4 toughness, 3 wounds, 4 initiative, 3 attacks, 7 leadership. The Kadai Manburner, which is the unit champion, I believe has 1 additional attack. They're monstrous infantry. They're demonic with flaming attacks and immunity to flaming attacks. We have Blazing Body. Any model, friend or foe, except another Kadai in base contact with a Kadai at the start of the close combat phase, takes an automatic non-physical strength 3 hit with flaming attack special rule. In addition, any non-magical attacks suffer a -1 strength penalty used against them. And then they have Burning Bright. From the second game turn onwards, at the start of each of your turns, a toughness test must be made for each Kadai unit. Roll 1 dice for each unit. If this is a failed, they suffer D3 wounds with no save of any kind, possible distributed as per shooting attack. Which kind of makes sense because these guys are made out of fire, and as we all know, fire does eventually burn out. Then we have Kadai Destroyers. So it looks like these guys are Forge ruled as well. It is a movement 8, weapon skill 5, ballistic skill 3, 7 strength, 6 toughness, 6 wounds, 5 initiative, 5 attacks, 8 leadership. It's a monster. It's got Blazing Body, Burning Bright, Demonic, Flaming Attacks, and Immunity to Flaming Attacks. Hellish Frenzy. A Kadai Destroyer is subject to Frenzy against D3 attacks each turn rather than +1 whilst it remains frenzied. We have upgrades for this. Razor Horns. The Kadai Fire Destroyer gains the Impact D6 special rule. Gore Blades. When attacking the Kadai Destroyer in close combat, all to hit rolls of 1 by the enemy inflicts a strength 3 hit on the attacking model. and Brazen Wings. The Gadai Destroyer gains the Fly 7 inches rule and Breath Weapon Strength 4 Flaming Attack special rule. And then we have Dark Colossus. The Gadai Destroyer gains +2 wounds. Ooh, that would be rough. I think Brazen Wings or Dark Colossus would actually be the best ones to use for this guy. Yeah, sounds pretty good. Then we have Whirlwinds and Tenderizers. Looks like these are types of, yeah, it looks like it's some kind of war machines that we have these guys. So the Whirlwind has 6-inch movement, 4 strength, 5 toughness, 4 wounds. It's pushed by a Bull Centaur, so we have that. Armor save of 6 up, has Contempt, natural armor 6 up, Whirlwind. In addition to his normal impact hits, the Whirlwind causes D6 impact hits at strength 5 at the start of each round of close combat. Note that this only applies when fighting to the Whirlwind's front. Due to its constraints when pushing the Whirlwind forward, the Bull Centaur may only attack when fighting to the Whirlwind's flank or rear. So it looks like we have that kind of push forward weapon. And we have Tenderizers. Movement 6, 4 strength, 5 toughness, 4 wounds. Bull Centaur as well. Armor save is 6 up. Contempt, and as well as natural armor 6 up for its special rules. And Tenderizer. In addition to his normal impact hits, the Tenderizer causes D3 impact hits at strength 6 at the start of each round of close combat. These attacks have the multiple wounds D3 special rule. Oof, that's deadly. Note that this only applies when fighting the Tenderizer's front. Due to its constraints when pushing the Tenderizer forward, the Bull Centaur may only attack when fighting the Tenderizer's flank or rear. Alright, so it looks like it's like a push cart type of weapon that these Bull Centaurs are pushing forward. Then we have Light Artillery. We have Inferno Guns. So it looks like it's movement 3, 4 open skill, 3 ballistic skill, 3 strength, 4 toughness, 2 wounds, 2 initiative, 2 attacks, 9 leadership. It's got Contempt, Relentless special roll. The Inferno Gun has 18-inch range, strength 5, armor piercing 1, move or fire. Roll the artillery dice to determine the number of shots fired, and roll to hit as normal using ballistic skill of the Chaos Dwarfs. If the result is a misfire, consult the Black Powder misfire chart. So we do have that. Then we have the Earthshaker Motor. Alright, the Earthshaker Motor was actually a weapon that was from the 4th edition of Warhammer Fantasy. It actually caused like miniature earthquakes. So it looks like it's got 3 movement, 4 weapon skill, 3 ballistic skill, 3 strength, 4 toughness, 2 wounds, 2 initiative, 2 attacks, 9 leadership, infantry, contempt, relentless, and resolute. The Earthshaker Motor has a 12 to 36 inch range, strength 3 on the blast template with a 6 in the center, armor piercing 1, move or fire, multiple wounds D3, and slow to fire. Then we have bazookas. So these guys have movement 3, weapon skill 4, ballistic skill 3, strength 3, toughness 4, 2 wounds, 2 initiative, 2 attacks, 9 leadership. Once again, these guys are infantry that contempt, relentless, and resolute. And the bazooka has 6 to 24 inch range, strength 6, move or fire, slow to fire. Each hit from bazooka is multiplied into D6 hits. If the to hit roll for a shooting attack made by a bazooka is a 1 before any modifiers are applied, then it misfires. Roll in the black fire misfire table in the Warhammer rulebook and apply the result to the bazooka. This could be really deadly against monsters and monstrous infantry, especially if you have these guys when you're running around with these things. Then we have Hobgoblin Spear Chuckas, which are basically bolt throwers. Toughness is 7. Hobgoblin Crew. Slipshot. If the to hit roll for a shooting attack made by a Spear Chukka is a 1, then it misfires. Roll the Stone Thrower misfire table in the Warhammer rulebook and apply the result to the Spear Chukka. So it's kind of like Goblin Spear Chukkas from the Orcs and Goblins line. Now we have these guys, the Iron Demon War Engine, which are, I believe, Forge World exclusives. So it says here the Iron Demon has got 6 movement, 6 strength, toughness, and wounds. And then we have 2 Chaos Dwarf Crew to go with it. Armor Chariots with an armor save of 4+. It's got D6 plus 2 impact hits, causes terror, and it's unbreakable. It has the special rules Lumbering and Unstoppable. When charging, the Iron Demon can only do so in a straight line forward with no wheeling allowed, and it does not use the Swift Stride rule special rule. If a double 1 is rolled for charge distance, then something has gone wrong and the Iron Demon does not move at all this turn. Iron Demons cannot overrun or pursue in combat if they destroy or rout their foes. We have Grind Attack. At the beginning of each round of combat in which it is not charged, the Iron Demon inflicts D6 impact hits to reflect its grinding over its victims with its bulk and power. Demolition. Iron Demons suffer terrain classified as obstacles. Ignore terrain classified as obstacles and do not suffer D6 wounds for moving through dangerous terrain except rivers and marshland, which are treated as impassable terrain. Which makes sense because the Iron Demon is like a giant train that just kind of runs through things. Then it has Steam Cannonade. This weapon only be fired at a target directly ahead of the Iron Demon. It is the following profile: 18-inch range, strength 5, armor piercing 1. Roll the artillery dice to determine the number of shots fired, and roll to hit as normal using the ballista skill of the Chaos Dwarfs. If it does not suffer any 2-hit penalties for moving and shooting or firing multiple shots. If the results of misfire, consult the black powder misfire chart. If a destroy result is rolled, the candidate is destroyed and may not be used again. In addition, the Iron Demon it is mounted on suffers D6 wounds with no armor save of any kind. And then we have Skullcracker, which are basically like giant picks that this thing actually drops on people. It says the Iron Demon gains the impact hits 2d6 special rule and rolls 2d6 for the number of impact hits with its grind attack. In addition, hits caused by the Skullcracker gains a +1 bonus on 2 wound rolls against buildings and fortifications. Very, very nice. Then we have the Magma Cannon, which is another Iron Demon type weapon. It's got toughness of 7, Chaos Dwarf crew. It's a fire thrower, contempt resolute for the crew, Magma Cannon. The Magma Cannon uses the following profile: 12-inch range, 5 strength, flaming attacks causing D3 multiple wounds. Very, very deadly, that cannon. Then we have the Death Shrieker rocket launcher. Alright, so the Death Shrieker rocket is a weapon from the 4th edition Warhammer Fantasy, as you can tell by the awesome art down here. It has a toughness of 7, Chaos Dwarf crew. It's a fires like a storm thrower. It's got contempt, resolute special rules for the crew. The Death Shrieker rockets. The Death Shrieker uses the large template with the flying profile, 12 to 48 inches, strength 3, flaming attacks. Any which hits from the Death Shrieker must take a panic test. Yeah, that's what they actually fired from that thing. Oh, it looks like they have a new attack too. Demolition rockets. Death Shrieker launchers may be used to fire special demolition rockets instead of their normal loads. The demolition rocket uses the small template, has the following: 12 to 48 inch range. It looks like 4 for the blast area, 10 for the center hole. Flaming attacks, multiple wounds D6. If a Death Shrieker rocket launcher rolls a misfire, use the black powder misfire chart. Oh, cool. So it looks like the Death Shrieker rocket actually has 2 attacks now. I believe in the 4th edition rules, if it actually fired, I believe it also like kind of hit the ground and it spun around and it caused some damage, and sometimes it could fly to a different target sometimes, if I remember that correctly. I could be thinking of another attack. Alright, so we have the Dread Quake Motor. So yeah, it's one of those Iron Demon weapons that's put on top of on a train. This is a Forge Rule model. It has Chaos Dwarf crew as well as a Slave Ogre to operate it. It's a War Machine Storm Thrower type. They have Contempt. The Slave Ogre causes Fear and Resolute. Deathquake Motar. It's got a range of 12 to 72 inches, which is handy, I guess. Strength 5 with 10 for the center hole for that one. Armor Piercing 1, multiple wounds D6, slow to reload. All models in a unit suffering casualties from a Dread Quake Motor in the previous turns must pass a test exactly as moving through dangerous terrain if they wish to move, and suffer 1 hit, 2 hit with massive weapons. War Machines can only fire on a 4+ on a D6. The black powder misfire chart is used when the weapon misfires, but all rolls on the chart are reduced by 1 in order to reflect the dangers of the unstable Deathquake shells. So this is what the old Earthquaker motor used to do back in the day. Slow to reload. Unless a Slave Ogre is present as part of the War Machine's crew, after the motor is fired once, you must roll a 3+ on a D6 whenever you wish to fire it again. If this roll is failed, you may not fire this turn, but may fire again normally next turn. Which kind of makes sense because it takes forever to load this thing. And then we have the Hell Cannon, and the Hell Cannon, of course, is the very exact same Hell Cannon from the Warriors of Chaos Army list. So it looks like it's exactly the same from there. So we're not going to spend too much time on that one because we've seen that unit before. And then we have the Juggernaut Siege Tower. This is new, so let's talk about that. It's got movement of 6, 5 strength, 6 toughness, 10 wounds. As a Chaos Dwarf crew on board, as well as a Bull Centaur probably pulling this thing. Chariot with armor save of 6+, terror, special rules, and unbreakable. Siege Tower. The Juggernaut may never charge. When charging, the Juggernaut may only do so in a straight line forward with no wheels allowed, and it does not use the Swift Stride special rule. Juggernauts cannot overrun or pursue in combat if they destroy or rout their foes. The crew of the Juggernaut do not suffer penalties for moving and shooting. The Bull Centaur may only fight if the Juggernaut is engaged in its flank or rear. All enemy attacks are directed against the Juggernaut itself and automatically hit in close combat. They have a Siege Cannon on here. Siege Cannons fire using the following special rules: 36-inch range, strength 7, multiple shots 2, multiple wounds D3, slow to fire. Siege Cannons can only fire from the Juggernaut's front and do not suffer any penalties to hit for firing multiple shots or moving and shooting. If you roll a double on the hit roll when firing them, the Juggernaut suffers D3 wounds with no armor save allowed. I believe this model actually came out for Warhammer Fantasy through Forge World, I believe. I think it was a long time ago. I think it was might have been like a 4th or 5th edition miniature they actually came out with this for. Then we have the Colossus, which is basically a giant, metallic monster. Looks like. It's got 6 movement, 4 weapon skill, 3 ballistic skill, 6 strength, 6 toughness, 6 wounds, 1 initiative, 5 attacks, 10 leadership. It's a monster, which is an animated construct, mechanical giant. So for those of you guys who play War Machine, if you got some Warjacks you want to use, you can use this. If Colossus is destroyed in battle, it will explode with an earth-shattering noise. Any model in base contact take a single strength 5 hit. Upgrades for this looks like you can take a Demon Crystal, which gives you Rage Resistance 3. Armor plating, which gives you +1 to its armor save. Furnace of Hashut. The Colossus may use the furnace at the beginning of each of its turns. It gains +2 movement and a d6 extra attacks in close combat for the remainder of that turn. However, the Colossus also suffers d3 strength 6 hits with a North armor save special roll at the end of that turn. Lava Thrower, which gives it a strength 5 breath weapon with flaming attacks and ignores armor save. Great Hammer, +1 strength to its attacks. If you replace both the Colossus hands with the Great Hammer, it gains +1 attack as well. Crush. In addition to those normal attacks, a Colossus can make a single attack at strength 10 with multiple d6 special roll. And then High Powered Engine. The Colossus gains the following bonuses to its profile: +1 movement, +1 strength, and +1 attack. Personally, I think that the Lava Thrower would probably be the best thing for this. I could really see you just causing a lot of chaos with that. Then we have the Siege Giant, which is the up armored giant that you saw from Forge World. Looks like it's got 6 movement, 3 weapon skill, 3 ballistic skills, 3 strength, 6 toughness, 6 wounds, 3 initiative, special attacks, leadership 10. Oh wow, that's kind of nice. Immunity, psychology, and stubborn. And it looks like it has exactly the same kind of attacks that you would have from the man-sized things with the except for flail and crush and ripping blades, as well as leg breaker, smash with pick, and headbutt. So let's take a look at that. So first of all, leg breaker. Giant targets a single enemy model in the target unit that is in base contact. The giant and its victim both roll d6 and add their strength. And for each point by which the giant beats its victim's score, it inflicts d3 automatic wounds with the ignore armor save special roll. In addition, regardless of the result, any models other than the giant inflicting the attack in base contact with the victim must pass an initiative test to get out of the way or suffer an automatic wound from the struggling beasts. Very cool. Smash with pick. The giant chooses a single target model from the enemy unit that is in base contact with. The target may attempt to avoid the blow by passing an initiative test. If the test is failed, the model suffers 2d3 wounds with ignore armor save special rule. If a double is rolled, the giant's pick has embedded itself in the ground, and the giant cannot attack at all in the following round of the same combat whilst exit free. Then of course we have headbutt, of course. And then it looks like we have flail and crush. First test to see the giant falls over. With any wounds caused, they do not count towards the strength combat result. If the giant remains on his feet, select a target at the base contact. The unit suffers 2d6 strength 6 automatic hits at the armored bulk of the giant batters into the ground and the ripping blades. The giant fights using the random attacks 2d6 special rule this round. If a double is rolled when determining the number of attacks, the giant must immediately test to see if it falls over. Any further damage done in this way counts towards combat resolution. So very, very brutal. And then it says Wall Ripper. Chaos Giant always attacks a building with a smash with pick attack. Need not roll for a random attack type. And it looks like it has Siege Armor, which gives it 2-up armor in combat, as well as a 4-up or 3-up in missile attacks as well. Then we have the Runes of Hate, which is an upgrade. A giant of the Runes of Hate becomes subject to the Berserk Rage rule from Frenzy. In addition, whenever a giant is called upon to roll for a random number of attacks, this may be rerolled, and Scaling Spikes. If a giant with this upgrade perishes and falls over an obstacle such as a moat, ditch, or wall, mark the obstacle, which will now be crossed as open terrain. Additionally, if the giant dies at the foot of a building or fortification, models assaulting any garrison across the location of its body get a special +1 bonus to their combat resolution. So yeah, these guys are actually good against using against like siege rules. Then we have a new unit, looks like it's called the Altar of Hashut, which is a new unit. It's got 7 toughness, 3 wounds. Altar Guard have 5 weapon skill, 3 ballistic skill, 4 strength and toughness, 1 wound, 3 initiative, 1 attack, 9 leadership. Looks like it's a version of the Anvil of Doom from the Dwarves. It says Altar of Hashut. A demon smith of the Altar of Hashut gains a ward save 4+ and unbreakable special rules. In addition, his troop type changes to War Machine and he counts as being part of the crew. Randomize any missile hits between the Demon Smith and the crew. The Demon Smith can never choose to leave the altar during the game. and the Demon Smith is killed, the whole altar is also removed as casualty. Blessings of Hashut. A model mounted on an altar of Hashut can use each of the following bound spells once per friendly magic phase. In addition, it may use up to 4 power dice when attempting to cast each spell. The altar can pivot on the spot before casting, and the range of the bound spell is measured from the altar itself. We have Flaming Hide. Innate bound spell, power level 7. Flaming Hide is an augment spell with a range of 36 inches. Until the start of your next magic phase, a target unit must gains a 6+ ward save, and any model in base contact with the unit suffers a 3 hit with a flaming attack special rule at the start of the combat phase. Fists of Fire, innate bound spell, power level 7. Fists of Fire is an augment spell with a range of 36 inches. Until the start of your next magic phase, the target unit may re-roll failed rolls to wound and gains a magical attacks and flaming attacks which rules in close combat. Very nice. And then Shadows of Hashut, innate bound spell, power level 8. A direct damage spell, draw a line 36 inches from the base of the altar. Every model crossed by that line suffers a strength 4 hit. And then we have Sacrifices to Hashut. In the magic phase, the Demon Smith may sacrifice one of the slaves chained to the altar, roll a d6, and add the result of the casting result to any spell cast by the altar of Hashut, but not the Demon Smith himself this phase. However, if a 1 is rolled, the Demon Smith instead suffers a wound with no saves of any cause possible, as Hashut is displeased with the pitiful sacrifice. Oof, pretty deadly. Then we have our monsters, the Great Taurus, which is a giant bull monster. This actually came out in the 4th edition of Warhammer Fantasy. 6 movement, 5 weapon skill, 5 strength and toughness, 4 wounds, 3 initiative, 4 attacks, 6 leadership. Monster with blazing body, flaming attacks, fly 8, as well as immunity to flaming attacks, fueled by fire. If the Great Taurus is a target of a non-physical flaming attack, it immediately regains 1 wound lost earlier in the battle. It's also got Flaming Breath, which gives a 4 breath weapon, and Blood Rage. This gives the Great Taurus the Frenzy and Hatred special rule. Yeah, you should put generals and stuff on top of this thing. Then we have the Lamassu. The Lamassu, yeah, that's supposed to be like a Chaos Dwarf mutant creature is actually what it's supposed to be. Used for magic spells. It's got 6 movement, 3 weapon skill, 5 strength and toughness, 4 wounds, 1 leadership, 2 attacks, 8 leadership. Level 1 wizard. He uses a spell from Lord of Fire, Lord of Death, or Lord of Shadow. 8-inch fly, magic resistance 3, sorceress miasma. So yeah, it was known for putting out the smoke. Magic weapons lose all of their magical properties and are treated as mundane weapon of the same type while the models remain in base contact with the Lamassu, including the rider of the Lamassu itself. It's also got a mace tail, which gives a +1 attack, and Sorcerer's Exhalation. This gives the Lamassu a strength 3 breath weapon with a magical attack special rule. So yeah, it's a pretty terrifying monster there. And with that, that takes us directly to the special characters, and we will come back and talk about those guys here in a second. Alright, so let's go ahead and talk about the special characters real quick. So the first one we're going to talk about is Astragoth Ironhand, High Priest of Hashut. Now this special character was actually a throwback to the 4th edition of Warhammer Fantasy, because this guy was actually a special character. What he was a sorcerer whose body was entirely petrified except for his head. So they actually put him in like a mechanical frame in order to walk around and he could fight and stuff like that. So let's talk about this guy. He's movement 6, weapon skill 6, 4 ballistic skill, 5 strength and toughness, 4 wounds, 1 initiative, 3 attacks, 10 leadership. He's infantry. He's got Astragoth is a level 4 wizard. His spells from the Lord of Fire, the Lord of Metal, the Lord of Shadow, Lord of Death, or Lord of Hashut. He's got Contempt and Resolute and Sorcerer's Curse, and he's got the mechanical body. Astragoth can move faster than ordinary Chaos Dwarf because of his remarkable semi-mechanical body. However, he may never march or charge longer than his movement value. He will still pursue and flee at a normal speed, and then he's got Overdrive. If Astragoth successfully hits with all 3 of his attacks, then his mechanical arm goes into overdrive, pounding, smashing, and stabbing faster than flesh and bone would permit. He can immediately make an additional 3 attacks. These attacks may not generate any further attacks. So yeah, he's like a half robot Darth Vader type character. Then we have Zatan the Black, Commander of Tower of Zar. He's like a general character. Yeah, as you can see here, it looks very brutal here, as you can see in this photo. So he's got movement 3, 8 weapon skill, 4 ballistic skill, 4 strength, 5 toughness, 3 wounds, 4 initiative, 4 attacks, leadership 10. Infantry, he's got Contempt, Hatred, Relentless, and Resolute. The Slave Tyrant. Friendly units of Hobgoblins within 12 inches of Zatan are exempt from the Animosity rule. In addition, Zatan causes terror in all enemy units of Orcs, Goblins, Hobgoblins, and Nobblers. He's got the Black Hammer of Hashut. Close combat attacks made with this weapon are at a +2 strength. Any flammable model successfully wounded is killed outright. So treemen beware. Then we have Obsidian Armor. Black Shard Armor. This armor gave Zatan a +1 wound, and the Onyx Amulet. The wearer is not affected by any spells, including friendly spells. In addition, models of base contact may not cast spells, including bound spells. So like I said, Zatan the Black, Commander of Tower Zar. Really, really dilly dude. Then we have Gorth the Cruel, who is a Master of the Conclave. I believe this guy is a wizard as well. It looks like he's a Forge World character. He's got 3 movement, 5 weapon skill, 4 ballistic skill, 4 strength, 5 toughness, 3 wounds, 2 initiative, 3 attacks, and 1 leadership. Gorth the Cruel is a level 4 wizard. He may use spells from the lore of fire, lore of metal, lore of shadow, lore of death, or the lore of Hashut. He's got Contempt, Relentless, Resolute, as well as Sorcerer's Curse. He's got the Axe of Gorth. On a roll of 6, attacks with this axe automatically wound and ignores armor save. The Amulet of Hashut. Gorth and any unit he is with are subject to frenzy. In addition, the amulet gives him a 5+ ward save, and Chalice of Fire. 1 use only. The Chaos Dwarf player may choose to roll a d3 at the start of any player's magic phase. The number rolled is the number of power / dispel dice the enemy must remove from their magic pool. Oh, wow, that's pretty cruel. I guess that's why they call him Gorth the Cruel. Then we have Draz Oath the Ashen, Sorcerer, Prophet of Hashut, Lord of the Black Fortress, Master of the Legion of Asgore. He's got, let's see here, 3 inch movement, 6 weapon skill, 4 ballistic skill, 4 strength, 5 toughness, 3 wounds, 2 initiative, 3 attacks, 10 leadership. Looks like he's accompanied by Cinder Breath. I guess Cinder Breath is a monster of some sort, I imagine. Oh, there you go. It's a bull. So it's got 6 movement, 5 weapon skill, 0 ballistic skill, 6 strength, 5 toughness, 5 wounds, 3 initiative, 4 attacks, 6 leadership. Monster special character. Draz Oath is a level 4 wizard. Uses spells in lore of Hashut. Draz Oath has Contempt, Relentless, Resolute, Sorcerer's Curse, Dark Renown. All friendly models with the Contempt special rule, including Draz Oath himself, within 12 inches of him, add +1 to the combat resolution rolls. Ooh, that's pretty scary. And then Cinder Breath's got Blazing Body, Fiery Breath, Flaming Attacks, Fly 8, Fueled by Fire. We have the Graven Scepter. This magic weapon never needs to roll higher than a 4+ to wound his target, regardless of the enemy's toughness. Ouch. We have the Hell Shard Amulet. Hell Shard Amulet confers a ward save of 5+ special rule. In addition, for every successful wound that the amulet fails to stop in close combat, a strength 2 hit is automatically inflicted on the model that caused the wound. Yeah, that's not so great. And they have Demon Spike Crucible. This bowl adds +1 to the bearer's casting attempts. In addition, the first time Draz Oath or Cinder Breath kills an enemy wizard in close combat, their soul stuff is consumed by the crucible, and the bonus increases to 2+. Oh man, so wizards beware. Draz Oath and Cinder Breath are coming after you. Then we have Shator, the Executioner, Lord of Bahal, Warrior Priest of Hashut. So I believe this guy might be a brand new character, I believe. He's got 8 inch movement. Wow, he is wicked fast. Oh, because he's mounted on a monster, that's why. He's got 6 weapon skill, 2 ballistic skill, 6 strength, 6 toughness, 6 wounds, 3 initiative, 5 attacks, 9 leadership. He's got Contempt as well as Impact, hits D3 with natural armor 4 up. Lord of Bahal. The Bull Centaur eagerly awaits Shator's order to attack his foe. Okay, so this guy is a Bull Centaur, looks like. Probably a one render. Let's see here. All Bull Centaur renders, and Bull Centaur Taruks within 12 inches of Shator may reroll failed charge rolls. Very cool. Prayers of Malice, innate bound spell, power level 3. Prayers of Malice is an augment spell with a range of 12 inches. The target gains 6+ ward save until the end of your next magic phase. He's got the Dark Tide Axe. Every time a Shator rolls a 6 from willing to wound in close combat, that attack has multiple wounds, 2 special rule. And Mask of the Executioner. At the start of your magic phase, you can target 1 enemy unit within 8 inches of this model and roll a d6. On a 1 or 2, nothing happens. On a 3 through 5, the enemy unit suffers d3 wounds that ignore armor saves. On a 6, the enemy unit suffers d6 wounds, which ignores armor save. Okay, I think I've seen this guy before. This is the he is that Forge World Bull Centaur character that they actually had. That's who he is. All right, then we have Rykarth, the Unbreakable, Captain of the Immortals. So let's take what he has. He's got 3 inch movement, 6 weapon skill, 4 ballistic skill, 4 strength, 5 toughness, 2 wounds, 4 initiative, 3 attacks, 10 leadership. Infantry special characters got Contempt, Fear, Relentless, and Unbreakable. Captain of the Immortals. Rykarth must be accompanied by a unit from Mortals, and he may not leave this unit. As long as he remains with it, he and his unit are unbreakable. Wow, pretty good flank to fit a unit. He's got the Cursed Rune Axe. Great weapon. All attacks made by this weapon have armor piercing 1 and multiple wounds D3 special rule, and the armor of Gazrak. Granite armor. This armor gives Rykar +1 to his armor save for a total save of 1 up. Yeah, pretty good. Then we have Hrothgar the Renegade, Sorcerer of the Forge. I am assuming he is a Forge World miniature. He's got 3-inch movement, 4 weapon skill, ballistic skill, strength and toughness, 2 wounds, 2 initiative, 2 attacks, 9 leadership. Infantry special character. Hrothgar is a level 2 wizard that uses spells from the lore of fire or metal. He's got Contempt, Infernal Engineer, Relentless, Resolute, and Sorcerer's Curse. He's got a Master Engineer. All war machines in an army, including Hrothgar, may reroll 1 artillery dice or scatter dice once during the game. Okay, he's got Hellfire Pistol. The Hellfire Pistol has some flaming attacks, missile attack only, and multiple shots D3 special rules, and the Infernal Armor. Black Shard Armor. The armor gives Hrothgar the War Save 5+ against magical attacks. Very deadly dude. Then we have Gorduz Backstabber, Scourge of the Darklands. I believe this guy's a Hobgoblin. Yeah, he's a Hobgoblin special character. I believe he was from the 4th edition of Warhammer Fantasy. If I remember correctly, I think he was the Backstabber special character. He's got 4-inch movement, 5 weapon skill, 4 ballistic skill, strength and toughness, 2 wounds, 5 initiative, 3 attacks, 7 leadership. He's got Backstabbers, Cowardly Despoilers. He's got Fated, Lucky, Sneaky. When Gorduz is reduced to his last wound, he gains a ward save of 4+ special rule, and he has Eye Gouger, his dagger. All attacks made with Eye Gouger have the poison attacks, killing blow, and armor piercing special rule. And that makes up the special characters, and that takes us to the lore of Hashut. And we'll come right back in order to talk about that. Alright, so now we're back with the lore of Hashut, which is a brand new magical lore that is unique to Chaos Dwarfs. They have Killing Fire lore attribute. Once a spell from the lore of Hashut has been cast on an enemy unit, that unit counts as being flammable for the remainder of the magic phase. Oof! Which means double the attacks, double damage from flaming attacks, which I'm pretty sure all these do. So we have the signature spell, Breath of Hatred, 6+. Augment spell with a range of 24 inches. The target unit gains a hatred special rule until the start of the next magic phase. The wizard can choose to have this spell target all friendly units within 12 inches. If they do so, casting value increases to 12+. Not bad to give your entire army within 12 inches anyways. Hatred. We have Burning Wrath, cast as 6+. Magic Missile with a range of 12 inches, causes D6 strength 6 hits with the flaming attack special rule. The wizard can increase this to 2d6 hits. If he does so, the casting value is increased to 12+. Not bad either, especially when you can put that with the Killing Fire on that. Then we have Dark Subjugation at 8+. Hex spell with a range of 24 inches. The target unit must pass a leadership test at -3 or suffer a permanent reduction of -1 to leadership for the rest of the game, to a minimum of 2. And this has no effect on models with immunity to psychology. Then we have Curse of Hashut for 10+. Curse of Hashut is a direct damage spell with a range of 18 inches. It targets a single enemy model of the caster's choice, even a character unit. The target suffers a number of hits equals to 2d6 minus their toughness value. Hits from this spell wound are 4+ with a Nor armor save special rule. Ooh, very, very deadly. Then we have Ash Storm, which is a 12+. Ash Storm is a hex spell with a range of 24 inches. The target unit suffers -1 to hit in close combat and -2 to hit with missile weapons until the start of the caster's next magic phase. In addition, the target unit may only use its basic move and may not charge, march, or fly. The unit also treats all terrain, except impassable terrain, as dangerous terrain while the spell effects last. The wizards cannot cast magic spells except from their own unit while under the effect of the spell. Very, very powerful spell right there. Ash Storm, it should always be in your arsenal no matter what. Then we have Hellhammer, cast on 13+, direct damage spell, extend a straight line 12 inches away from the caster's front arc and directly away from their base. Each model in the way must take an initiative test or suffer a strength 6 hit with a flaming attacks and multiple wounds D3 special rule. Any unit suffering casualties from this spell must immediately take a panic test. The sorcerer may choose to increase the range of the spell to 24 inches. If they do so, casting value will be increased to 16+. 13+ is just fine the way it is. Very, very deadly there. And then 6 is Flames of Asgore, cast on 18+. Flames of Asgore is a direct damage spell which may be cast on any point on the table within the caster's line of sight. Place the small round template with the central hole on the chosen target point. The template then scatters d6 inches. All models touched by the template suffer a strength 6 hit with the flaming attacks and the multiple wounds d6 special rules. Ouch. You can imagine you putting that in combination with Killing Fire would be brutal. In addition, the model must directly under the hole of the template must take a toughness test at -2 or be slain outright with no saves. The sorcerer may choose to increase the power of the Flames of Asgore by reaching the larger 5-inch round template, but if this is the case, the casting value is increased to 26. Very, very powerful. So far, my favorite ones so far are Ashstorm, Hellhammer, Flames of Asgore, as well as Curse of a Shut. That's really, really deadly. Might as well get those 4, and then Breath of Hatred you always get, which is pretty rough. Now, Burning Wrath is pretty good too. You might want to put that on your Demon Smiths because that way they can use a magic missile, which is not bad. Alright, so let's take a look at their magical items. So we have Hell-Forged Artifacts. We have the Dark Mace of Death. Okay, a little on the nose there, but okay. 60 points. What is that? It's the Dark Mace of Death. Straight up. No fluid language here. Close combat attacks made with this weapon have the Killing Blow special rule. In addition, once per game, the bearer can inflict an automatic wound on every model in base contact. Oh wow, that's powerful. Including their own mount, with ignore armor save special rule. Moral of the story, you guys, don't write anything. So there's that. Blade of Malice for 25 points. Bearer of this weapon gains the Hatred and the Armor Piercing 2 special rule. Good way to give you some magical attacks. Mask of the Furnace for 55 points. 6-up armor save. The wearer gains the Fear, Ward Save 4+, and Immunity to Flaming Attack special rule. Ooh, that's actually pretty good for 55 points. Especially if you give you the Fear one on that. Armor of Bazarak the Cruel, 50 points. Full plate armor. The armor gives the wearer +1 to his armor save and a magic resistance 2. For 50 points, that's a little much. Then we have the Stone Mantle for 30. Sorcerer, Prophet, Overlord, Demon Smith, or Despot only. The bearer's toughness is increased by +1 while their initiative is lowered by -1. That's not bad. For 30 points, that's pretty good. Then we have the Black Gem of Nar for 25 points, 1 use only. This item can be activated at the beginning of either player's close combat phases after challenges are issued, except that the bearer and 1 model base contact, bearer's choice, may not attack or be attacked for the duration of that phase. Work out the combat resolution as always. Oh, that's pretty cool. So this semester around with personal challenges. Gauntlets of Gazrak for 20 points, enchanted item. The wearer gains +1 strength. If the wearer rolls a 1 to hit, the blow strikes a random friendly model and base contact immediately. Not bad for 20 points. +1 strength is always good. You never know when you need a +1 to your strength. Then we have the Banner of Slavery for 30 points. All friendly models with the Animosity rule, as well as Spear Checkers within 12 inches, gain the Immunity to Panic special rule. So that'll be kind of good, especially if you have a lot of greenskins in your army. Chalice of Blood and Darkness, 50 points. Well, I wonder what's in it. Blood and maybe darkness. In any magic phase, the bearer may, if they wish, reduce the number of dice held in both sides of dice pool by D3 each. Roll these dice separately, declaring before rolling which applies to which side. If a double 1 is rolled between the dice, then the bearer suffers a wound with no armor saves allowed. However, if they roll a double 6, then the bearer may recover a single wound previously lost in the battle. It's a nice way of actually messing around your enemies, but for 50 points though, might be a little too steep for what it does. And then we have the Demon Flask of Ashak for 100 points. Oof, this better be good. 1 use only. This effect takes place at the start of the player's movement phase before charges are declared. All enemies within 18 inches suffer a panic test. Buildings, chariots, and war machines within this range suffer D6 automatic wounds. Okay, that is pretty good. For 100 points, yeah, you could really mess up enemy war machines, buildings, as well as cause panic. It's a one-shot wonder, but at 100 points, though, it could really mess up some things if you're not careful. So that's pretty good. And that pretty much makes the magic items. Oh, look. See, this is the 4th edition I was talking about. These are the 4th edition army photos from before. So you can see we got Hobgoblins in the front here. We got the Chaos Dwarf Warriors. We have the Black Orcs, Hobgoblin Backstabbers, Archers. We have Balancer Bear, the Lamassu original character, the Earthshaker Motor Cannon, the Hobgoblin Bolt Thrower, the Bull Centaurs. They have another general back here. That was a Deathstreaker Rocket, as well as the Blunderbuss guys, as well as a Sorcerer. We have some more Hobgoblin Wolf Riders and Backstabbers. Yeah, so you can see we have that very cartoony look, and that's because that's classic 4th edition, and that's exactly where this army originally came from, which is really cool. Very well done, Elias Matthias, and nice little nod back to the classic age. So that being said, we're now going to stop here and talk about the Chaos Dwarf army lists and their point values. Alright, so now we're back with the Chaos Dwarf Army list, so let's see what we can come up with. Alright, so first of all, So using the army list, let's talk about the point values real quick. So Zaytown the Black costs 260 points. You can put on a Lamassu for 195 or a Great Taurus for 165. But because you have that Black Hammer, it's not going to do you to get or put him on a Lamassu, so put him on a Great Taurus. Not pretty good. That's pretty good. Asgorth Iron Hand, that's the guy who's with a mechanical body. He costs 300 points. Gorgoth the Cruel costs 405. Maybe mounted on a palanquin for 35 points. Then we have Drazoth the Ashen. That's the guy who's riding that creature Cinder Breath for 570 points. He's expensive, but he does a lot for you, so I can understand why they put that on there. We have Shator the Executioner for 320 points. That's that super huge Bull Centaur. Our Sister of Prophets cost 220 points. Level 4 Wizards for 35. They can have pistols, naphtha bombs, blood of Hashut, as well as dark forged weapons. They can have heavy armor or black shard armor for 3 and 7 points. They can be mounted on a palanquin, as well as Great Taurus or Lamassu for 165, 195, or 10. May take up to 100 points in magic items. Traditionally, what you would do back in the older editions of Warhammer Fantasy, you would either choose a Sorcerer Prophet as your general, or maybe an Overlord. But more often than that, though, you took a Sorcerer Prophet just because they had pretty good, decent fighting stats. They could be mounted on really powerful monsters and have good weapons, and that looks like this holds true here too. Then you have your Overlord, who's got 140 points. Can be equipped with pistol, great weapon, and additional hand weapon. Carry a shield, medium armor, can have heavy armor or black shard armor for 7 points and 3 points accordingly. They can be mounted on a Great Taurus or Lamassu for 165, 195, 100 points in magic items. Then we have Bykarth the Unbreakable. That's the commander of the Immortals. He costs 165 points. Gorduz Backstabber. He can't be a general's army. He may be mounted on a Giant Wolf for 12 points. 105 points for that guy. Hothgar the Renegade, which is that special engineer character. He's got naphtha bomb, Hellfire pistol, and Inferno armor. And he's level 2 wizard. Alright, so 225 points, not bad. Then we have our Despot, which is our captains, our Battle Center Bearers for 25, 65 points for these guys. Pistol, great weapon, or additional hand weapon for 5, 6, and 2 accordingly. Heavy armor is 2 points, black shard armor for 5, 2 points for a shield, 50 points for magic items, so not bad there. Then we have our Demon Smiths for 90 points, can be upgraded to level 2 wizards for 35. They can carry pistols, naphtha bombs, and dark forged weapons for 5, 15, and 20 points accordingly. 2 points for heavy armor, 5 points for black shard armor. May take an Altar of Hashut for 120 points, and may take magic items up to a total of 50 points, so not bad there. The Bull Centaur Taruk, that guy costs 150 points. He may be equipped with a great weapon for 8 or additional hand weapon for 4. Probably want to go with the great weapon. He carries a shield for 4 points. May upgrade light armor to medium armor for 4 points if you want to do that. Take magic items up to 50 points. Hobgoblin Chieftains cost 40. They can take spears, additional hand weapons, bows, shields, light armor, mounted on giant wolves. May take 25 points of magic items. The Altar of Hashut is a mount that you can put onto your Demon Smiths. And it looks like you have Tauruses may take Flaming Breath for 30 points, Blood Rage for 30 points. Lamassus may take a Mace Tail for 15 or Sorcerer's Exhalation for 20 points. Pretty good there. And of course you got the Palanquin as well that you could actually take. Let's go over our core units. So Chaos Dwarf Warriors cost 8 points per model. So they come with hand weapons and medium armor. 30 points for full command, 25 points for magic bearer. Yay, that's pretty good. They can take great weapons for 2 points, shields for 1, heavy armor for 1 point. They may take one of the following: an Inferno gun, a bazooka, or Earthshaker motor. I think a bazooka and the Inferno gun are probably the most helpful. Devastators cost 13. They got hand weapon, hail shot, blunderbuss, and medium armor. 30 points for full command. Oh, good. They can take magic standard for 25. The entire unit may replace their blunderbusses with crossbows for free. I'm not sure why you would. Oh, actually, I know why you would do that, because you want the longer range. And entire unit may upgrade to heavy armor for 1 point per model. Pretty good there. And oh wow, Infernal Guard are actually core. Oh, that's really interesting. Okay, so these guys cost 13 points apiece. So that's cool. They are core. Hand weapon, black shard armor, as well as shield. Oh, they don't come with the fire glaives automatically. Okay, that's why. 30 points for full command. They can take a magic center up to 50 points. They may take great weapons for 1 or fire glaives for 4. One unit may be upgraded to Infernal Iron Sword for 3 points per model. I say just stick with the normal Infernal Guard and give them fire glaives. Makes them much more versatile. Then we have core units continue. We have Hobgoblin Warriors at 3 points apiece, which also makes sense. 30 points for full command. They may replace their shields with bows. May light armor. Just give them bows if you want to, but don't mess with them too much. Hobgoblin Wolf Riders, 10 points apiece. 25 points for full command. They can take spears or replace their shields with bows. May wear light armor, so that's not bad either. We have our goblin slaves at 2 points per model. They could get spears for half a point and replace their shields or short bows for 1 point, and may take light armor for half a point. And then orc slaves cost 4 points per model. All orc slaves may have the following: replace their shields with additional hand weapons for free. They may have spears or they may take light armor. Pretty good. Not bad. Now let's go to our special units. We have our mortals, which cost 15 points, 30 points for full command, and our magic standard worth 50, so they have everything they need. Acolytes of Hashut cost 13 points per model. They may aircraft upgrade for 30 points for full command, 50 points for a magic standard, and 50 points for a petrified sorcerer. We have Zealot Berserkers. These guys come in units of 10 plus, 2 hand weapons. Full command is 30 points, magic standard with 25 points, and they become skirmishers for free. Definitely make them skirmishers. Make them small flank protecting units. Bull Centaurs cost 20 points a piece, 30 points for full command, 25 points for a magic standard. They may take additional hand weapons for free or great weapons for 2 points, and the entire unit may be upgraded to medium armor for 2 points. Give them the medium armor. You're definitely going to want to protect these guys. Then we have our Bull Centaur Renders. These guys cost have coming units of 3. Come with hand weapons, shield, and light armor. 30 points for full command, magic center with 50. They have additional hand weapons for free or great weapons for 3 points, and medium armor for 6 points. Definitely give them the medium armor. I would suggest also giving the great weapons too, because strength 6, that is no joke. Then we have Black Orcs, which cost 14 points a piece. May entire unit be equipped with shield 1 point, 30 points for their full command. Then we have Kadai Fireborn at 50 points per model. Maybe upgrade to a man burn for 10 points. We have a Whirlwind and Tenderizer, which costs 100 points a piece. Sneaky Gits cost 6 points per model. Maybe upgrade to Scouts for 1 point. That's pretty good. That's definitely what you want to use these guys for. Put them in units of about 10. Give them Scouts. Let them take out enemy war machines and such. Goblin Spear Chucker costs 3 points per model. It says you may only take 1 to 2 Goblin Spear Chuckers as a single special choice. Boo! Don't do that. Let them take as much as they want to. Then we have our Iron Demon War Engine for 225 points. May replace a Steam Cannonade with a Skullcracker for 30. Magma Cannon for 140 points for that. Chaos Dwarf Crew may be upgraded medium armor for 1 point per model. Deathstreaker Rocket Launcher for 95 points. May upgrade with medium armor 1 point. May take another additional crew member for 7 points. So yeah, very deadly there. Then we have our rare units. The Dreadquake Motor costs 110 points. Crew may be upgraded medium armor for 1 point per model. Slave Ogre for 20 points. Hell Cannon's 190. Chaos Dwarves may have 1 additional point for medium armor. Then for our rare choice, we have the Juggernaut Siege Tower for 230 points. Colossuses for 230 points. May take 82 of the following. Lava Throwers are 50 points. High Powered Engine is 35. Demon Crystal is 30. Great Hammer is 20. Furnace of Hashut is 20. Crush is 20. Arm Plating is 5. So that's not bad. Then we have our Siege Giants for 190 points. May take Rune of Hate for 25. Rule of Scaling Spikes for 10. And then we have the Kadai Destroyer, costs 300 points just by himself. May take any one of 2 Gore Blades, Razor Horns, Dark Colossi, or Brazen Wings. And that pretty much makes up our units on this one. Alright, so our overall conclusion, once again, this is another beautifully done army book made by Elias Mathiasen, as well as the Warhammer Armies Project. This is a really good book, in my opinion. You haven't seen Chaos Dwarfs, not really since, unless you were actually playing Forge World with the, I believe it's called the Throne of Tamarkan, I believe it was called. It was an adventure where you played a Nurgle army going through the Darkened Lands where the Chaos Dwarfs can be found. And I believe that's where they were. They were actually just Forge World originals, actually, and that's the reason why they were so expensive and why you don't really see Chaos Dwarf armies, because you need quite a bit of these guys when you're making armies. So they were quite expensive to do that. The last time we saw Chaos Dwarfs since then, of course, was during the 4th and 5th edition of Warhammer Fantasy. As you saw in that beautiful picture I was looking at earlier, they had a very cartoony paint job, and that's what the miniatures looked like originally. So seeing Chaos Dwarfs back again for 9th edition Warhammer Fantasy is actually really, really cool. I really appreciate what the Matthias license has done with this army. He brought back a lot of the old holdover units from the earlier editions of Warhammer Fantasy, especially from 4th edition onward. So that part was excellent. And actually, in all actuality, you can actually get a pretty affordable Chaos Dwarf army if you really want to. In my opinion, the best way to probably purchase miniatures for a Chaos Dwarf army is one of 2 ways. Method one, use Kings of War. That would be the way I would do so. Mantic's Games Kings of War does have a special army known as the Abyssal Dwarves, and Abyssal Dwarves are just Chaos Dwarves that they are. They actually have several units that they actually have that could translate very easily over to Warhammer Fantasy Battle, especially for the infantry warriors as well as their fighters that use blunderbusses. They also have those kind of units as well. Now, I do not believe they have Bull Centaurs. I don't think they do have that, but that's going to be probably the sticking point. It's going to be really hard to do, is to find alternatives to Bull Centaurs. That would probably be the most difficult unit to find anything on. Now, luckily for us though, Games Workshop is releasing the new, I believe it's called a Centaur, Chaos Centaur model. Forgot what it's called. You could definitely use that for your Shartark, the Executioner, or for your very large Windrisers. You can use it for that if you wanted to. But as finding alternatives though, I have to look up that up. I'm really not sure off the top of my head where you can find some cheaper alternatives to making Bull Centaurs, unless of course you convert your own. Now, as for Hobgoblins, you could definitely use Cruel Boys, I find, from Warhammer Age of Sigmar. You'll be able to use those guys as well. Or you could also use Orcs and Goblin miniatures from Kings of War as well, in order to supplement that as well. Or you could just use Orcs and Goblins from Warhammer Age of Sigmar and still use those as well. You'll still be perfectly fine with those. And those are the two ways I would actually go about making this army. I would usually probably get a lot of Kings of War miniatures in order to find that, and then to do the things like the war machines and such. You could probably convert your own demonic engines out of available kits that are already out there already. You could, for example, buy like a train kit set and just add weapons and spikes on it to create demon engines. That would be very easy to do. So buying a Chaos Dwarf army is actually quite doable, and it will not be nearly as expensive as you would actually think, because there's a lot of third parties out there that make other miniatures that you could use to create your Chaos Dwarf army. In fact, if I was to actually do this, I already have a pretty large number of Orcs and Goblins in our Studios collection, so I don't really need to worry about that. What I'd probably do is buy some Abyssal Dwarves from Kings of War to make my units, and then maybe some war machines from that, and that would probably what I would run. I wouldn't probably run Bull Centaurs just because I'm not aware of any cheap alternatives that are out there yet, and that's probably why I wouldn't run those. And yeah, that's how I pretty much would equip my army, with those materials. So like I said before, this is an excellent product that is made by the Warhammer Armies Project, and you really can't beat the price either. The price is free. All you need to do is go to the Warhammer Armies Project's blogger site and download the army book from their list of available books that they have, and you yourself can start playing Chaos Dwarves in the future. So that's my overall review of this product. An excellent example of an army book made by Matthias Eliasson, so congratulations there, sir. As always, please feel free to like, comment, and or subscribe. You guys' input is valuable to us as always. Also check us out on Facebook, Instagram, as well as blogger.com for all the latest greatest hobby news related to this channel. That's good for this one, you guys. We'll see you guys next one. Peace out and stay classy.